I never imagined I'd be making a major change to my eating habits at 83. Life seemed more or less set in its ways, and I'd grown comfortable with familiar routines, especially the foods I loved. But a few months ago, something changed. My doctor gave me that look I've come to recognize all too well, the one that says, "We need to talk seriously now." My blood pressure numbers had crept up again, and even though I tried to brush it off, deep down I felt a little ripple of concern. What if this was the sign that more serious heart issues were around the corner? What if those quiet aches in my chest became something worse? My biggest fear was losing the independence I cherished, the freedom to go out for a walk, tend the garden, or enjoy a spontaneous lunch with my grandchildren. It was in that moment I remembered a conversation I'd overheard at a church function years ago. A group of seniors was raving about something called the DASH diet. Back then, I wrote it off as just another fad. But sitting in my doctor's office, I couldn't shake the memory. Could this be more than just trendy advice? When I got home, I decided I owed it to myself to do a little research. The more I learned, the more intrigued I became. If this way of eating could help stabilize my blood pressure and maybe even give me more energy, then it was worth a shot. Little did I know that it would open up a world of possibilities, showing me 6 remarkable benefits I never expected to find. Blood pressure troubles affect so many of us, especially once we're past 65. The stakes couldn't be higher. Ignoring the silent threat of hypertension can lead to life-altering consequences. One day you're fine, the next you're dealing with shortness of breath or worrying about sudden dizziness when you stand up. The daily routines that once brought you joy, like cooking for your family or gardening, start to feel like challenges that sap your energy. And while most people go straight for medications, they often overlook the root causes. By neglecting dietary habits, they risk bigger issues down the line, from heart strain to kidney complications. Today, I want to share the 6 most powerful blood pressure benefits I experienced since adopting the DASH diet, and I encourage you to stick around until the very end. The last benefit is so transformative, it might just shift your perspective on aging entirely, giving you a renewed sense of confidence and hope. Because here's the truth. This journey isn't just about lowering a number your doctor writes down in your chart. It's about reclaiming the sense of possibility that can fade with age. And trust me, you're going to want to know about every one of these benefits since they can make all the difference in how you feel day to day. Doctors and specialists are finally recognizing the power of balanced, nutrient-rich eating plans that specifically address our needs as we get older. The DASH diet stands out because it's not some extreme regimen that forces you to give up everything you love. Instead, it focuses on simple adjustments: more fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and less sodium. Small shifts that can have a huge impact on your blood pressure and overall health. After making these changes myself, I've felt a steady improvement in my energy, my comfort, and even my outlook on life. And I'm about to reveal exactly how each benefit can help you live better too. Before I dive deeper, I'd love for you to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any future videos that can help you live a healthier, happier life. And if at any point you find this content helpful, type 1 in the comments. If you don't find it helpful, feel free to type 0 so I know how to improve. Your feedback matters more than you know, and it helps me keep creating content that serves you best. Now let's explore the 6 transformative blood pressure benefits I discovered through the DASH diet. Each one challenged what I thought I knew about staying healthy in my 80s, and each one rewarded me with renewed energy and a sense of hope I hadn't felt in years. I can't wait to share them with you because I believe they could make a real difference in your life too. Let's get started. The first major benefit I noticed was how reducing my sodium intake seemed to give my body a new lease on life. People have told us for years to watch the salt, but so many seniors, myself included, assume it can't be that big of a deal. After all, we grew up in an era where salt was on every kitchen table, and we added it to just about everything. The common misconception is that cutting back on sodium is only for those with severely high blood pressure. And if your readings are only slightly elevated, you can keep on sprinkling. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Reducing sodium intake can offer surprising improvements in how you feel overall, not just in your blood pressure numbers. Consider my friend Harold, who's 77. He has always been a salt lover. He told me he'd pour salt on his fries before even tasting them. That might sound like a small quirk, but by the time he reached 70, he was feeling consistently bloated and tired, and his blood pressure was inching upwards. He chalked it up to old age. Then his doctor gave him a gentle warning, suggesting it was time to cut back on the salt. Harold rolled his eyes initially. He didn't see how one ingredient could make such a difference. But a few months later, after making a serious effort, he was shocked by his newfound energy. He began waking up in the morning without that stiff, heavy feeling in his body. His ankles, which used to swell, returned to their normal size. The difference was remarkable. It was as though he'd taken off an invisible backpack he didn't realize he was carrying. The truth is that sodium can hold excess fluid in your body, straining your heart and blood vessels. By consciously reducing those salty snacks and processed foods, you ease that pressure in a way that medication alone can't always achieve. A lot of folks assume that only drastically high sodium diets are harmful. But even moderate levels, if they accumulate day after day, can contribute to ongoing stress on your cardiovascular system. Think of it like a slow leak in a tire. You don't notice it at first, but over time, that constant stress leads to real damage. If you're wondering what you can do, start small. Read labels on everyday items like canned soups, breads, or sauces. You might be surprised at how much salt sneaks in. Switch to lower sodium or no salt added versions where possible. Try flavoring your meals with herbs like basil, oregano, or rosemary. These can give you that satisfying taste punch without the risks that come with salt. Also, consider cooking more from scratch if you can. It gives you complete control over how much salt goes into each dish. And every tablespoon you don't add is a tiny step toward a healthier heart. When you make this adjustment, you'll notice a sense of relief within your body. You may find your legs feel lighter, you tire less quickly, and you can enjoy little indulgences without as much guilt. You'll also see the positive impact on your blood pressure numbers. It's a wonderful feeling to walk into the doctor's office, see that lower reading, and know that your efforts made a real difference. For me, seeing my diastolic number drop by a few points felt like a personal victory. It gave me hope that I could actively steer my health in the right direction, rather than leaving it all up to fate. If you're still with me and you're finding value in these insights, please drop a comment with the number 2 below. Let me know you're here and engaged, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. Your support means a lot to me and helps me bring you more information like this. The second benefit is how balancing potassium, magnesium, and calcium in my diet suddenly made my blood pressure far more stable than it had been in years. There's this idea that once you hit a certain age, you're doomed to a slew of deficiencies that drive your blood pressure up. Some people even think it's normal to have higher blood pressure in your 70s and 80s, so they just accept it. But that assumption can rob you of a chance to improve your health through a simple nutritional approach. The balance of these three minerals can soothe the tension in your blood vessels, almost like taking a warm bath after a stressful day. I remember feeling a noticeable change in my muscles too. I used to deal with cramps in my legs at night, sometimes so sharp they jolt me awake. I'd rub my calf muscles for relief, but it never fully went away. After a few weeks of following the DASH diet's emphasis on foods rich in potassium, like bananas, spinach, and sweet potatoes, and magnesium found in nuts, seeds, and whole grains, I realized my nighttime cramps had quietly disappeared. It was such a relief to wake up in the morning without that lingering soreness in my calves. On top of that, getting adequate calcium from low-fat dairy really helped as well. I started enjoying a small cup of Greek yogurt in the morning, or a slice of cheese here and there. Foods that used to feel like luxuries suddenly became part of my strategy for better health. My friend Dorothy, 74, can vouch for this. She was told repeatedly by her peers that leg cramps and erratic blood pressure readings were just part of getting old. When she finally consulted a nutrition-minded specialist, she realized she was missing out on critical minerals. Once she adjusted her diet to include more leafy greens and low-fat dairy, she noticed her heart didn't race as much when walking upstairs, and her energy levels rose. She had always believed she'd slow down in her 70s, but instead, she found herself volunteering more at her local community center. She described it to me as the difference between trudging through quicksand and walking on solid ground. The misconception is that you have to resign yourself to a cabinet full of supplements or that it's too complicated to figure out which foods contain which minerals. But it doesn't have to be that way. The DASH diet is designed to incorporate fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and dairy products in just the right proportions, so you naturally receive these essential nutrients. If you're worried you won't like the taste of so many vegetables, try experimenting with cooking methods. Roasting veggies can bring out a sweet, rich flavor that's so different from just boiling them. And consider pairing them with things you already enjoy. For instance, if you love potatoes, replace the usual fries with baked sweet potato wedges. It's a small tweak that brings a large payoff. The most immediate change you'll feel is a steadier heartbeat and fewer muscle spasms or twitches. There's something incredibly comforting about knowing your body has what it needs to function smoothly. Over time, the tension in your blood vessels relaxes, which can help keep your blood pressure in check. Don't underestimate how empowering it is to feel that bit of control. Instead of seeing your body as something that's inevitably breaking down, you begin to see it as adaptable, capable of thriving with the right support. If you appreciate this kind of practical guidance and you're still here with me, comment with the number 2 to show you're following along. I value your feedback and want to make sure you're getting the best possible insights to help you or someone you love. Now on to the third benefit, weight management without feeling like you're on a restrictive diet. One of the biggest misunderstandings among seniors is the assumption that if you're not significantly overweight, you don't need to worry too much about what you eat. Some believe that in your later years, it's normal to gain a few extra pounds, so why fight it? But holding on to excess weight, even just a bit, can sneakily affect your blood pressure. It's like carrying around a small backpack that gets heavier every day, burdening your heart and your joints. And the scary part is that over the years, a few extra pounds can turn into a bigger health risk. When I first started following the DASH diet, I wasn't aiming to lose weight. My main focus was my blood pressure. But I quickly realized that by choosing more fruits, veggies, and lean proteins, I naturally started shedding a couple of pounds here and there. It wasn't dramatic, but it was steady. My clothes felt a bit looser, and I noticed I could move with less effort. For me, that made simple tasks, like doing laundry or walking upstairs, less of a chore. I remember feeling a sense of surprise the day I noticed I had more stamina to do my yard work. It was early in the morning, and usually I'd be huffing and puffing by the time I finished pulling weeds. But this time I found myself pausing to look at the flowers, enjoying the peace of the morning rather than catching my breath. Another great example is my neighbor James, who's 68. He never thought of himself as particularly overweight, just a bit stocky. He was put on medication for high blood pressure but wasn't thrilled about depending on pills. When he discovered the DASH diet, he tried it out somewhat skeptically. Within a couple of months, he lost about 10 pounds. That may not sound like a lot, but it was enough to bring his blood pressure into a healthier range, which allowed his doctor to reduce his medication dosage. Even more surprising was his renewed energy. The last time I saw him, he was planning a hiking trip with his grandson. He told me he never thought he'd be excited to go on a hike at almost 70, but there he was, raring to go. The actionable tip here is to focus on gradual changes rather than drastic measures. Instead of cutting out entire food groups or severely restricting calories, try switching to healthier versions of what you already eat. If you love a good sandwich at lunch, switch to whole grain bread and load it up with veggies. If dessert is your thing, enjoy a bowl of fresh fruit with a dollop of yogurt instead of a slice of cake every night. These small steps might sound trivial, but they add up over time. And once you feel that sense of lightness in your body, you won't want to go back. The real emotional benefit is confidence. Losing even a modest amount of weight can give you a mental boost that spills over into everything else. Your social life, your willingness to try new activities, and the way you see yourself in the mirror. You realize it's never too late to make a change that positively impacts your heart. There's something empowering about knowing that each bite of food can move you closer to a healthier, more vibrant life. The fourth benefit ties directly into heart health improvements, which goes beyond just lowering blood pressure. A lot of people think that if your blood pressure is a bit high but not extreme, you're still okay, so you might not feel an urgent need to change. They believe heart disease is something that just happens, like a random event you have no control over. But the reality is that every meal, every snack, is either contributing to your heart's well-being or slowly wearing it down. The DASH diet, by focusing on nutrient-rich foods and lower sodium, provides consistent support to your cardiovascular system. I'll never forget how my Aunt Rose, who was 80 at the time, got a scare one day when she felt a flutter in her chest that wouldn't stop. It turned out to be an arrhythmia that her doctor said could have been exacerbated by years of eating too many processed foods. She started following the DASH approach not just because of blood pressure concerns, but to support a healthier heart overall. Within months, her energy levels soared, and her arrhythmia episodes reduced significantly. She told me it was like discovering a secret passageway to feeling more alive. She had assumed at her age it was normal to be short of breath after a brisk walk, but she began outpacing friends 5 and 10 years younger than her. It's a misconception to believe that once you're older, there's little you can do to improve your heart health. The body is remarkably resilient, and the heart in particular responds well to consistent nutrition. Even small changes, like adding an extra serving of vegetables or cutting down on sugary drinks, can yield surprising results. It's the daily cumulative effect that matters. Picture it like saving a little money each day. Over time, those savings add up, and you realize one day you have a nest egg you can depend on. The same goes for your heart. Each healthy meal is an investment in the life you still have ahead of you. One of the things I found most surprising was how quickly I began to notice subtle shifts in my endurance. After sticking with the DASH diet for about a month, I realized I could walk a bit faster, and I wasn't feeling as fatigued at the end of the day. Activities like climbing stairs or even playing with my dog became less daunting. It wasn't an overnight transformation, but it was a steady progression that filled me with hope. There's something incredibly rewarding about seeing measurable improvements, like going in for a checkup and hearing your doctor say, "Your heart sounds great." The emotional reward here is peace of mind. Knowing you're actively caring for the organ that keeps you alive can alleviate a lot of anxiety about the future. Instead of fearing that your body might give out on you without warning, you begin to trust it more. It's a partnership, really. You give your heart what it needs, and in return, it supports you in living life the way you want to live it. If you're still watching and appreciating these insights, please leave a comment with the number 4. And if you haven't already, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you'll get more tips for living a fulfilling life. Your participation means the world to me. The 5th benefit is the improvement in kidney function that often accompanies better blood pressure management. Many people don't realize how connected the kidneys are to our overall cardiovascular health. There's a mistaken belief that kidney issues only arise in people with a long history of severe high blood pressure or other major illnesses. But the truth is, even slightly elevated blood pressure over time can put strain on your kidneys, leading to gradual declines in their ability to filter waste and regulate fluid balance. I once spoke with a gentleman named Ernie, 75, who had been dealing with borderline kidney function for years. He never linked it to his diet, thinking that it was just something that ran in his family. It wasn't until he looked more closely at the DASH diet that he realized how heavy his intake of processed foods had been. Processed foods often come with hidden phosphorus, additives, and high sodium levels, all of which can stress the kidneys over time. Once Ernie made a conscious shift toward fresh vegetables, lean proteins, and low-salt alternatives, his kidney function stabilized and even improved slightly. He said it was like he'd finally given his kidneys the break they needed to do their job. The surprising reality is that what's good for your heart's also good for your kidneys. By reducing sodium and emphasizing nutrient-dense foods, you lower the workload on these vital organs. This can be a lifesaver as you age, because kidney problems often creep up without obvious warning signs. You might just feel a bit tired or notice swelling in your ankles, but over the years that could escalate into something far more serious. With the DASH diet, you help ensure your kidneys are not battling an uphill struggle against your daily meals. A simple piece of advice is to get a sense of how much protein you truly need. Many people equate high-protein diets with better health, but the reality for older adults can be more nuanced. You do need quality protein to maintain muscle and strength, But going overboard can stress your kidneys. The DASH diet provides a balanced range of protein sources, like lean meats, beans, and low-fat dairy, so you're not overloading your system. Pair that with plenty of water and you give your kidneys the support they need to function at their best. The emotional payoff here is relief. You're not just hoping your kidneys stay functional, you're actively taking steps to protect them. There's a sense of security that comes from knowing you're reducing your risk of complications. If you've ever worried about having to deal with dialysis or the fatigue that comes with declining kidney function, adopting a more balanced diet can feel like you're steering away from that scary road. It's empowering to know you're doing something now rather than waiting for a potential crisis to arise. If you're still watching and believe in the importance of looking after your heart, kidneys, and overall health, comment with the number 4. Your involvement helps me understand what topics resonate with you so I can continue to offer useful insights. The sixth and final benefit I want to share is perhaps the most uplifting, an overall sense of well-being that comes from balanced nutrition. I remember when I used to wake up feeling sluggish, my joints aching, my mind foggy. I'd tell myself, well, I am in my 80s, what do I expect? But the more I read about the DASH diet, the more I realized that a steady supply of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants could do more than just manage blood pressure. It could actually reinvigorate my daily life. Take Lucy, a 72-year-old grandmother I met at a community center cooking class. She tried the DASH diet purely to get her blood pressure under control. What she found was a profound sense of balance in her mood and energy levels. She told me that before, she felt irritable and tired by mid-afternoon, often needing a nap. But after consistently eating more fresh, whole foods and less salt, she noticed she had the drive to tackle projects she'd been putting off for months. She even organized her family photos, a task she dreaded because it felt too overwhelming. Now she breezes through her day with more enthusiasm. She jokes that her grandchildren have a hard time keeping up with her. The big misconception is thinking that such transformative changes only happen for people who start these diets in their 40s or 50s. We tell ourselves, I'm too old for that kind of energy. My body is past its prime. But the truth is, your body adapts at any age. Yes, it might take a bit longer, but the payoff is still very real. By focusing on fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and low-fat dairy, you're giving your body high-quality fuel. And a well-fueled body often translates into a brighter mind, a calmer disposition, in a sense that you can still enjoy so many of life's pleasures. The practical advice here is to approach eating as a joyful activity rather than a chore. Seek out recipes that excite you. Experiment with colorful produce that looks appealing at the store. When cooking, don't be afraid to use herbs and spices generously to bring out flavors you never realized you could enjoy. Also, remember to stay hydrated. Sometimes a simple glass of water can revitalize you more than another cup of coffee. These are small but significant steps toward feeling like each day is filled with possibility rather than limitations. And the emotional benefit, well, that's the sense of hope and opportunity I want to leave you with. Imagine waking up each morning not feeling burdened by your age, but curious about what you might accomplish that day. Imagine the pride you'd feel walking into your doctor's office and hearing praise for your improved numbers. That sense of personal achievement is priceless. It reminds you that you have agency over your health, even in your 70s, 80s, or beyond. If you've stayed with me through all 6 benefits, comment with the number 6 so I know you're still here. Your support keeps me motivated to share more experiences and insights that can help us all navigate the journey of aging with grace and vitality. Let's pause for a moment and really think about where we started. We began by talking about the fear and uncertainty that comes with rising blood pressure as we age, the nagging worry that something catastrophic could happen if we don't take action. But look at how much possibility exists once you take control of your diet. Reducing sodium, balancing essential minerals, managing weight, improving heart health, supporting your kidneys, and ultimately fostering a general sense of well-being. These are not random perks. They form a tapestry of better health that can change how you experience your golden years. The time to act is now. If you've been on the fence wondering if this is all just hype, I encourage you to give it a try. It doesn't have to be perfect from day one. Start small by replacing a high-sodium snack with something more nutritious. Maybe begin your mornings with a piece of fruit and a glass of water instead of skipping breakfast. The key is consistency. Over time, these small habits become second nature, and you'll see your body respond. It can be the difference between fearing a long day's activities and embracing them with open arms. Take a moment to picture yourself a few months from now, enjoying the freedom that comes with more stable blood pressure and a heart that feels strong. Maybe you're traveling to see family, tackling that gardening project you've been dreaming about, or simply enjoying a relaxed afternoon without the weight of fatigue dragging you down. Whatever your personal vision looks like, hold it close. That's your motivation. That's the future you can look forward to. I'd love to hear which of the 6 benefits spoke to you the most. Did the idea of reducing sodium resonate because you've been feeling bloated or tired? Or maybe learning about the importance of minerals like potassium and magnesium hit home because you've experienced muscle cramps? Share your thoughts in the comments. When you articulate what's on your mind, you take the first step toward making real changes. Plus, your story might inspire someone else who's struggling to take that leap. If you found this video informative and uplifting, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing it with someone who could benefit. Each person who takes a step toward better health creates a ripple effect in their community. And if you're already on this journey, your experience might just be the spark another person needs to begin their own transformation. Let's build a supportive circle where we celebrate each other's progress and keep hope alive. I want to thank you for spending this time with me. Your willingness to learn, question, and explore new possibilities is what keeps this community vibrant. Remember, you hold so much power to change the course of your health, no matter your age. As I discovered at 83, it's never too late to rewrite your story. Keep that spirit of possibility alive, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video, where we'll explore more ways to thrive in our golden years.